Amazing results coming out of string theory. But all of them have had a rather similar character. They all involve static configuration. So in particular, time is something that's remained since time and quantum mechanics have not been toyed with at all. On the other hand, we've learned a lot about the nature of space. And one of the things that we've learned about space is it's almost certainly not a fundamental concept in string theory. There are different dual representations of the space which describe the same object as different spatial objects, and T-duality, R going to 1 over R, we don't even know whether something is big or small. So space is clearly not a fundamental concept. Now I'm going to put my hand on the chopping block here. And, in general relativity, space and time are on the same footing. And if space is not a fundamental concept, I don't see how time can be a fundamental concept. But of course, for quantum mechanics, we really need So in our efforts to understand what happens to time in string theory, I think we should be prepared to think about quantum mechanics. Now, I noticed the recording survey in talk challenged almost every sacred cow except for time and quantum mechanics. So I'm trying to dissipate the circle here. So, I think it's an obvious next step, and certainly it's been shared by large speakers, is to study, just to try to start to study the nature of time and string theory and see where it leads us. Despite the title of my talk, I'm not going to answer it. But why do we want to study the nature of time? What are the interesting questions that we could try to learn? Well, for a theory of everything, string theory has had remarkably little to say about the origin of the universe. And that, of course, is a time-dependent phenomenon. Another time-dependent phenomenon is what happens to an observer that falls into a black hole. And we resolve the singularity, Schwarzschild singularity of a black hole by some analog of the many beautiful tricks that we've used to resolve time-like singularities in string theory. Another puzzle is that if we regard string theory as a cutoff at the string scale or the Planck scale, then we would expect space to have some number of degrees of freedom per unit Planck volume. If the universe is expanding, then there has to be more and more degrees of freedom as time goes on. Where do those degrees of freedom come from, if they really do here? Another problem is understanding the entropy of horizons associated with observers, as in the center space. Now, you can all agree that our current bag of tricks don't tell us how to answer any of these questions, but we can look for new tricks by studying time-dependent configuration. Sorry, what time did I start? Now, there's no obvious path. I don't have an obvious path to the answer to these questions. But there's still things we can do that I believe will move us forward. We can think about what general kind of phenomena we might expect. We can try to take all and this is much of what I'll be talking about today, we can try to take all the static phenomena that we've studied in string theory and just sort of turn them sideways to see if there's some time analog of them. And, of course, as to quote David Gross, when in doubt, calculate. We should look for models that, have something to do with time and try to calculate something and see where we get. We always learn something when we do that. And we've seen a lot of that during this meeting. Now, the rest of the talk is going to describe my own exploration in time-dependent phenomena over the last year. I'll really be just giving some highlights since I'm now down to 18 minutes. And, but a lot of other people have worked on this. As soon as I started to write this, I realized how silly it was because I think the name just keeps going on and on. People try to understand things about time and necessary. So I should mention my own collaborator, Okay, so I'll start by describing one of the most simple, but yet still extremely enigmatic time-dependent geometries, and that's the sitter space. So here's a picture of Penrose's diagram in the sitter space. It has a path infinity, a path space like infinity, and a future space like infinity. And the fact that this diagram is a square represents the fact that a light ray starting at the North Pole at t equals minus infinity will just reach the South Pole at t equals plus infinity. Now, in cosmologic, in spaces which are just asymptotically de Sitter in the future, an important example of which may well include our own universe, it's often the case that one doesn't have a path to Sitter region, but that path to Sitter space is cut off somewhere near the path horizon and replaced by a big bang or inflationary arrow. So, with that in mind, one can consider the whole de Sitter space. With that in mind, I'm going to mainly be considering this upper triangular region of de Sitter space, which is the future, called the future of an observer along the South Pole. Now, this region here is called the causal diamond. It's the region of the Sitter space where experiments can be done. If you want to know if you're on the South Pole and you want to know what the weather is anywhere in the Sitter space, it has to be in the causal diamond. You can ask what the weather is in this region, but they'll never be able to tell you. You can't ask down here, though this thing would tell you anyway. This is the region where we